to be about Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Gonna be talking about some of the good things I noticed while playing the beta. Gonna be talking about some of the issues I have with it so far, things that I think would improve it. I must say, ahead of time, overall, I thought the beta was a lot of fun. The game seems super fun. I'm definitely going to be picking it up. I will really want to put some videos out about it, but we'll see exactly what happens when the game actually comes out. In the meantime, I suppose let's go over some of the goods and bads that we have so far. First off, Wildlands is very realistic in the ways I want it to be, and it plays really solidly. Realism can definitely be seen in the way you move around, the way you interact with the environment. Enemies go down super quickly in this game, even the bosses, it only takes a couple shots. The challenge of this game is based off the positioning and the quick time to kill. You also have a large palette of options for which you can take on the various bases that you come across. Both your outfit and your weapon are customizable and realistic to a degree that I have not seen in any game since Arma. The weapons are customizable down to the barrel, through the gunsmith. We've seen this before in Ghost Recon, and it's really great to see it return in this new Ghost Recon. The clothing customization definitely stays really close to real life. And by really close, I mean it practically is real life in the sense that they have the actual companies that make the usual clothing for military and private military organizations. We have Cry, we have 511, we have all these brands, these industries that make clothing and gear, and we see that in the game. As an airsofter, I can definitely appreciate the level of detail in the way you can choose how you look. It definitely helps that we're no longer seeing these bright purple, bright pink, like all these like totally out of place colors that you tend to see a lot in like the newer Battlefield called it, even Rainbow Six Siege. And then the gameplay was super smooth, the shooting felt fantastic, fluid, so did the movement. While it doesn't quite have the level of options for movement that a game like Arma does, it definitely makes the movement more natural. Other things worth noting are the map size, which is absolutely gigantic. Someone did some estimations on the map size. It looks to be, granted, smaller than Just Cause, but larger than games like GTA, The Division, though that's not surprising, and most other open world games that we've been seeing come out these days. The cooperative portion of the game, which is really the whole game so long as you choose to play cooperatively, is really organic. I never felt like the way cooperative was set up hindered my ability to play the game, which is great. So, while I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the game come out, I must address some problems I had. First off, obviously glitches. I mean, it was a beta, so I suppose you should have expected some glitches in this game. However, the issues are pretty annoying and pretty constant, and seeing as how solid the other betas Ubisoft has put out have been, for example, For Honor seems to be bug-free so far. Wildlands, on the other hand, has some issues that are pretty, I wouldn't quite say game-breaking, but definitely immersion-breaking. While playing cooperatively, I'll notice other people not get into their vehicles fully on my screen. Sometimes objectives would not be placed correctly or not seen by everyone, and then down to smaller stuff like talking notifications on loading screens that stick around on every loading screen thereafter. Some other issues that I felt tend to hinder the game. The gunplay at times felt a little too easy with multiple people, seeing as everyone had access to an assault rifle and a sniper rifle and a pistol at any time. I pretty much never felt the need to pull out a pistol. I always could dispatch people with either two rifles or a rifle and a sniper rifle, and then when you play with multiple people, you no longer feel like you need that one person to be that designated rifleman when everyone can just pull out the sniper and take out a person at a long distance at any moment in time. Driving in the game also felt super funky. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but if I had to bet, I believe it's that the responsiveness of the controls for the vehicles are just a little too slow, so it can feel awkward when you're trying to navigate, especially when the camera is so far back behind the vehicle that you need to be able to quickly adjust for obstacles. Also, the flying vehicles, while they didn't necessarily feel unresponsive, they definitely felt a little difficult for me to control, not because they had difficult controls, but because the controls almost made it a little too easy. They felt like they were for people who aren't extremely familiar with flying vehicle controls in games. So as someone who's more familiar with controls that are a little more challenging but precise, like in Battlefield, I definitely felt like an expanded control scheme for helicopters would be much appreciated. The artificial intelligence for your enemies also definitely needs some work in this game. Right now, as soon as one person spots your location, pretty much the rest of the army knows exactly where you are, which can be very annoying when you're trying to take the stealthy approach or the sniper's approach, and when one person spots you, suddenly the whole base is alerted and knows your exact position no matter the distance. To make matters worse, once you are picked out by the enemies, they tend to stay focused on you no matter what you do. For example, I would go around a building to get out of their sight and then try and go upstairs to get a new vantage on them that they wouldn't expect. But unless you've been out of sight for a specific amount of time, the enemies will know exactly where you are. Another aspect I took particular issue with would be the minimap. I didn't see this too much in the closed beta forums, but I personally didn't like the minimap and how it showed you the general location of all of your enemies. This meant that it never felt like it was a challenge finding enemies. You generally just use the drone and then you know exactly once you've found everyone. This meant that I never had to stay aware of hidden enemies that might have been hidden in rooms. It made spotting enemies super easy, and clearing places carefully is unnecessary when every enemy's location is already certain. One last point, while I don't necessarily see them adding this by the time the game comes out, I would like to see some more dynamic random events to occur in like the roads or in the cities, because I feel like they would increase the longevity of the game and create a more realistic incentive for retreading old ground. Now, I might have rattled off numerous problems or additions to the game, but I must emphasize that I enjoyed the beta. Ghost Recon Wildlands looks like a thrilling game that will satisfy the hunger for a cooperative, open-world, tactical shooter that most AAA developers have not fed before.